Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for coming to this session. We in the skills and learning stream have been sourcing the most interesting stories we can find about solving this problem of the skills gap and this issue of kind of bringing new generations onto the platform. Now, in my travels, I heard about the work of Mr. Max Dahl, and I thought, well, I've got to have a word with him because what he's been up to has been really interesting, and it's been handed through a couple of colleagues, and we met up online. We had a conversation about the work that he's been doing, and I said to myself, look, this is a story that we have to bring to the stream just because I think there's so much we can learn from it, and it illustrates some of the themes that kind of come up very often. So we are I'm trying to think, are we AN?
AN.
AN is a ID.
AN8.
Yeah. So they're all 8 today, I think.
All right.
Yeah. And so there'll be a link for the feedback at the end because we really want to hear how you engage with the story. I think we're saying, Max, is it questions in the chat? And
yeah, there are going to be questions in the chat.
Yeah, and we can either do them at the end or as we go. I'll leave it to you.
Yeah. We'll see. It's probably easier to take it at the end to make sure not to disrupt the flow and thought process.
Right. So I'll keep an eye on that for you. But in the meantime, I shall lean back, get out of your way, and let you tell your story. Thank you so much, Matt.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Herbert. My name is Max Dahl. I come from Denmark and a company called mainframetrading.eu. I have, basically that. I just want to remind everybody to join the GSC UK conference charity raffle to help the conference. You can find the link on the slide on the screen, as well as scanning the QR code. And I wanted to start by giving a little background about me. I started with IBM training in 2008 in IBM Denmark. And when I joined IBM in 2008, I thought the courses were very expensive to start. I didn't know much about the topic. But in particular, I thought mainframe training was extremely expensive. It was priced over what other courses were. And when I saw the statistics, I actually thought I will not put any focus on mainframe training. I thought it will not happen. Over the years, we did have requests, of course, but I just took them on demand. I didn't focus. I've been focusing on IBM training since 2008. I went from IBM to Arrow in 2012, and now in 2021, I left Arrow and I work with my own company, still focusing on the same things, and now going into more depth on particular areas, one of them being mainframe training. So if we go to the next slide, skills gap. So how did I get into the mainframe world? In 2016, an article came out saying that from IBM saying that by 2020 there will be a shortage of 84,000 people in the mainframe area, 84,000 people that will be needed worldwide, not just in the UK or US or Europe, but worldwide. And I got into to collaborate with IBM on this topic and to think how we can help companies with this challenge. Part of the reason for this happening is in the past, companies would take in on a regular basis. They would hire people many years ago. These people would have apprenticeships with the experts, sit with the expert, learn a particular skill, a particular role. Over time, become self-sufficient. They could do the job alone and continue working on this. Over more than 30 years, people have been saying the mainframe is going to go, it's stopping, it's going to die. I know people working that have been working more than 30 years. When they joined the company they work at now, the manager said this is a short-term thing. The mainframe is going. They still work at the same company. Mainframe hasn't gone. Management still says mainframe will go. And now we find ourselves at a place where the average age of these departments is very high, partly because of this mentality. Since mainframe is going to go, nobody trains people. Nobody has hired people for many, many years. And we have a big skills gap. So the main risks, two of the main risks today within mainframe are retirement because of aging population of the talent pool, and the other is skills shortages. Now, when we take mainframe companies, they are running mission critical systems and applications. Systems that basically help run the world. And these organizations are very skill averse. They want to avoid, they're very risk averse, sorry. They want to avoid risk at all costs and have plans to mitigate different types of risks. But in my experience, there is no plan to mitigate the skill gap. So far, companies have thought, okay, if we miss somebody, we just hire somebody new, an expert, we find some expert. But these expert pools are getting smaller and smaller by the day, because those who retire, now they have finally retired. They have worked over their retirement age for a long time. And the question is, one of the questions are who owns the problem to the mainframe skill gap and the lack of hiring people? This is difficult to answer. Is it management? Is it the technical department? Is the company who outsourced their mainframes? Nobody seems to take immediate action, but part again is because of this lack of risk mitigation and making a risk assessment on your skill gap. You should plan. We have this is our department. This is stage. These are the skills we have. What are the main skills we need to continue working? What happens if we lose somebody? I've heard many terrible scenarios. I've heard some that are not so terrible, but still very expensive. A company having a key resource, a new project within this company. I don't want to name the names of these companies, but they worked on a big project, a lot of people, a lot of resources over a year, and very close to concluding the project, the main resource passed away. He was quite old. And management just says, hire a new person. And the technical team says, there is no new person. There is no new person, and we cannot find the skills out there because there are no skills. So we should have hired people, as we told you before. We should have trained the people. We should have mentored them. And this didn't happen on time. And this big project is on pause, and probably permanent pause. So here it's very important again to understand that proper planning, although it seems expensive to hire new people, can also not be that expensive if you compare it to the risks of losing key resources. Many companies owning mainframes are considering now cloud solutions. They see them as modern, as flexible, cheaper. It's easier to get resources. But on the other hand, having a mainframe and migrating can be very complex, can be very expensive. It's, to make sure your mission critical applications will continue to run perfectly as they do on the mainframe, that's very difficult. And we see many cases of migration attempts that fail, or migration attempts which end up on the mainframe because it just works better. When we talk about hiring people, there's a concern that we hear many times. We want to avoid failure. What about if we hire somebody and this someone that's hired leaves? They don't like the mainframe, or they quit after a while, or they don't fit into the team. And there are a few views, these mainframe teams that have been working together for 30 years or more in some cases, they have been together for a long time, and they find that it's difficult to understand that people are leaving. But when you look at statistics, in any job, in any role out of mainframe, all over the world, any country, there is a very high or semi-high percentage of people who get hired and leave. The job retention is difficult. It's an issue, and not everybody fits into a team, not everybody fits into a role. And many people also feel they can get something better, they can earn more. So there are many reasons for people leaving, but things need to be done in a particular way to lower your risks. And it is expensive. So the main difficulty within mainframe, when we talk about getting new skills, is first you need to hire. Hiring is expensive, and then you need to train people for 2 to 3 years before they become self-sufficient, before they can be a proficient mainframe skilled worker and work on their own. So I think the main risk is not the cost. The main risk is not having enough people when you hire new people. And if the people stop, or some people stop, and you had not hired sufficient people, then you need 2 or 3 years again from the start. So it's a good idea to hire bigger groups, to create a team which will work together, which will feel they're part of something, and will much easier stick together for the future. What's the company reactions to the skill gap? So as I said, I started working and focusing on mainframe in 2016 together with IBM. And we did so by creating some meetings called Gen Z Meetup, focusing on hiring young, new talent. And these meetups, they took place every time at a different company, which hosted once every quarter, every 2 quarters. And the purpose was each company could host, could have a presentation on what they were doing, what their problems were, if they had any new people, how the new people were learning, what they were learning, how they were working, how they found that they were speaking themselves over how they found being part of a team. And it was, a lot of knowledge to be gained by everybody. And these meetings lasted for about 3 years until they stopped. Everybody was too busy. And in a way that it's possible to say there was one constant outcome from all these meetings, and that is that the technical experts, the people, the technical managers that were responsible for the mainframe always agreed, we need new resources, we need to hire new people. But top management didn't always agree and didn't always want to fund these needs. Some of the reasons for this is that mainframes always work. There are never any problems. You're going to find logs of issues that need to be solved. You don't have emergencies, which you don't have with distributed. So the money goes to distributed. You always have to fix a problem with money, but no problem to fix a mainframe. And this is, again, we get back to the same thing. if we have a risk assessment of our current team, of what would happen if we lose key people, how long it takes to find people, if we can find them at all, how long it takes to train new people because we're going to find the top resources out there, and the cost of all these things, then you'll see that it actually makes sense. And once you have a risk that's been assessed, you can also have a plan to mitigate the risk and lower your overall risk for your platform. So we take a few examples of how different companies have handled this. We have worked with some companies with many meetings back and forth, technical team putting a plan together, having all the plan ready, and then we go back to management and they say things like 30 years ago it was cheaper to train. The cost is way more expensive than 30 years ago. And then it's these are difficult things to answer because of course everything has gotten more expensive in the last 30 years, but they do not want to pay and will not pay more than what it cost 30 years ago. And the technical team doesn't know what to do, and we're working on it, but these are some funny reactions to the problem. Then we have other companies, a couple of companies that are sure they're leaving. 10 to 15 years from now, they think something it will take 20 years, but we are leaving. Management has decided to leave, and one of these companies has been planning to leave for 30 years now, and they're running out of people, so they need to train some people. We're helping them in this regard on making a plan, because within 10 years, probably less, the current expert team will all be retired. So they're moving forward. If they don't take action now, there is nobody who can run the platform. There are other companies who see the risk or the cost of hiring and the cost of losing somebody they hired, not having 100% retention on their teams as a huge risk. Again, a bit unreasonable, but they plan to find resources out in the market and hope they can, and overpaying if necessary. We have other companies which, again, probably 3, 4, 5 years working together, planning, going back and forth, talking with top management, now moved forward, and we're starting to work with them on a plan, and we're going to execute this plan, and they will so they're hiring groups of people, some young, some middle-aged. They don't all need to be young. There can also be middle-aged people. You bring in experience, you bring in stability, and these teams of people are going to be having 3 weeks of education, 3 weeks of work, 3 weeks of education, 3 weeks of work, and so forth. They're going to be having active mentorship. There is going to be social, an effort made on the social aspect so that the teams get to know each other well, they get to collaborate, they get to help each other. Much like was happening in the past, these constant employment of new resources in the past meant that people got to know each other well, similar ages, working on the same problem, having the same problems, helping each other out to solve these problems. We want to create that. And furthermore, we're going to involve the experts and have them join these new groups from the start, help them put in perspective the things they're learning with the things the experts do. How do we use this thing that you're learning today? And then when they go back to work for 3 weeks before the next training, they're going to be shadowing and working together with the experts. So it's going to be active mentorship, active training, active connection with the experienced team. So hopefully it's not just a guy sitting out there alone that's almost retiring, and me that I'm semi-young or middle-aged. We're meeting them from the start. So there's a lot of effort from us, from the experts and mentors and the company, in order to help make this a success. And it's important to not just have one person. You bring in one young person alone. The results from what we've heard out there from many customers, one young person alone will stop, and that's it. There's no workaround. You need a team of young people, at least 2 or 3, that can be together, become friends, work together, solve their problems, help each other. Then we have another example. Just quick example is a company that wants to leave, actively looking to leave, creating requirements for a new system, and the requirements are done in the way that they can only be solved with a mainframe. So we get back to the same thing. It is very difficult to leave a mainframe, and very expensive. But yeah, another interesting topic is that many companies, it's mainly top management, they see the mainframe as an old thing. But mainframes have continuously evolved. They get modernized. They support AI. They support blockchain. They support open source tools these days. There are modern tools, also UI tools, and but management sees these old applications that have been built, decades ago, and they think, okay, that main application is a legacy application. It's old. Mainframe is old. These things can be modernized, so it's partly a lack of skill and this stopping of constant hiring and educating. And if you think about it now, you haven't educated or hired people probably for 2 decades, with the exception of a few people here or there. So you have saved a ton of money. This money can now be invested into modernizing your team, upscaling your team, cross-training your team. I think in the old days with the apprenticeship programs, people were becoming experts in a particular area and only doing that. And it's very normal that an expert within Kix only wants to do Kix, as an example, or the DB2 guy only wants to do DB2. They don't want to do anything else. And this that's okay. They're experts, but it, in a way, makes a team less resilient. I believe having new young people who can learn multiple cross skills, they will probably become experts in one thing, but if they can know several tasks, several areas, several roles, you have a more resilient team. You have the possibility of people helping each other more, and perhaps even having a smaller team that can handle a lot more things. And also using your mainframe in a modern way, modernizing the applications, because you have new people learning new skills, can also bring in efficiencies. So yeah. Current and future approach. As I said, we currently work together actively with IBM. We work actively with customers. We work actively with experts that have many years of experience, actively with recruiting experts who have put a lot of work and effort into understanding what is the ideal mainframe candidate, what's a profile for such a person. They have interviewed a lot of people all over the place, old, young, middle age, different industries, successful people that worked many years, people that have quit after some years, people that have hated it and quit it immediately, understood all these things in order to make a profile and better understand. So we're working with that, with the customers, emphasizing the importance of having a team. It's also important to make these new people coming into the mainframe understand the importance and the meaning of working with a mainframe. People like importance, they like meaning. And you're running the world, or part of the world. Things that cannot go down. So it's interesting stuff. And also the importance of having a group that becomes a team, focusing on social aspects, and if possible, helping the young and the experienced group to join, to click together. For the future, inspired by Herbert as well, and coincidentally talking with a new university that's starting in 2022, which focuses on remote training and remote learning. We have gotten inspired. We also want to do some communities at the university level. And this is, of course, a longer term plan, but together with the experts, with IBM, with recruitment experts, and giving these young people access to tools so they can put their expertise and their need to learn into practice and see if they like this. Some interesting challenges. And the goal with this is to have not only all what we have today, but also have some communities of young people in multiple countries, multiple universities by country. And so it's easier to go target find some right resources that it's no longer a question, might they like mainframe, but they like mainframe. And it will make the hiring easier. It will make finding the pools easier of people, and lowering the risk of will I hire 10 people, train them a year, and have half leave? That's very expensive. And as said, the time is also an issue. So I think that's the main thing. It's very difficult to have one lesson learned. I think, as I said, the main thing is that it's expensive. It takes time. Management doesn't necessarily understand what the experts know. They want to save money, of course. They want a better year, a better financial year. Everyone said, but your business depends on a mission critical system ran on mainframe, and you need to make sure that continues to run, or you might not have a business in the future. So having the risk assessment, making a mitigation plan for this risk will help you see a long-term future and stability in your business. I think that's about it from my side. Here you can find my contact information in case you have any questions or would like to reach out to me. And I think now we should open up for any questions which the audience potentially has.
Max,
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Herbert.
I mean, personally, my experiences resonate with pretty much all of that. The interesting perceptions of the platform at senior levels, the barriers, the unforeseen barriers, as you actually start to make something happen.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
I can actually see now, because 5 years ago it was urgent, and things move very slowly. Not because they should move slowly. The technical team wants to move now. 5 years ago, 4 years ago, 3 years ago, but now we're reaching a point where many companies, the companies are realizing, okay, now we need to move. We need to move quick. We need to move now, or it's too late. Yeah. So companies are starting to always. I see a sense of urgency out there. Not at everybody, but at least at a few.
Yeah, and hopefully that's a trend.
Yeah.
I almost wonder if COVID has maybe inspired some of this and some of the narratives around climate change, even.
Yeah. I mean, I've read they use the hardware is used very efficiently within a mainframe, rather than as on distributed, where you use a slight percentage of the capacity of the computer. So that makes this one hardware way more efficient from a climate point of view.
Well, I was meaning more that this has been something on the books forever, and we go, oh yeah, we put it off. Oh yeah, we put it off. But now actually people are going, no, this is a genuine problem. We
Yeah.
yeah. Some of that.
Let me see questions and comments here.
I was gonna say, do you want me to read them out or?
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah.
Yeah. So we have an interesting comment here from Michael. So he's running a course online, and there's free delivery, and sometimes they're struggling to get students to sign up. Now, it's interesting because in my experience, both can be true, that there's both a shortage and there's a shortage of people in roles, and there's a shortage of people taking the training. Have you any comments on that?
Yeah, that's another thing. I hear tons of people. It's funny, but whenever you meet people in person or you talk with them on the phone, they say, there's no training. I cannot find any training out there. It's impossible. I need to train 2 or 3 people. There is no training. I said, then you didn't search, because if you search just a little bit, you will realize that there are many things out there.
Yeah.
Have you gone to Google? Sometimes they say yes, but I say, I mean, I'll send you some links, and I send them some information. And also because of that, many companies, they think it's better to offer 100,000 courses than a few specific courses. That's why I created mainframetraining.eu, so that there are only mainframe courses. Go there, find exactly, I mean, those are the mainframe courses. If it's not there, we can also solve it. But to make it easier, here is your area. Here are the courses you need. Contact us if you need anything. And I said, oh, okay, yeah, now we can see there's something. And then we establish a conversation, yeah. But yeah, for some reason, people cannot find the courses. And it's the same case here at the university. People do not know for sure that there were these courses in Ireland. And I'm trying to I'll gather this as well. And Michael, you're welcome to contact me, because I would like to gather a few different resources that I can put and make available for when we start working in these communities and sending out to students. You can learn here, you can learn there, you can access a mainframe here, you can access a mainframe there. There will be these challenges like IBM's Master the Mainframe, but other challenges as well. So the more we can offer the students to satisfy their hunger for knowledge, the better. Yeah.
No, good point. We need to get better at spreading the word. There's a comment from Aileen around that, about more management need to understand mainframe rocks.
Yeah.
And can be great for young people too. Great to see new unis getting involved.
Yeah, I think as I say, management seems to be, I mean, unfortunately, a lot of managers, are spreadsheet managers, unfortunately. They see numbers and they don't go down into depth. And of course, it's very difficult to understand every little single bit of technology, but it's important to understand what the mainframe does. And it's important to understand that it never goes down, that it works, the stability, and there are many features, backward compatibility since version 1. That's an amazing feature in my opinion. And to make this risk assessment, because they do not have a risk assessment on, or most don't have, on losing talent and not having sufficiently a group of sufficient educated people. You cannot just bring in a new person and have them running in 2 weeks. You cannot find people that are educated and ready to take over your system, because it doesn't exist. It's getting smaller and smaller by the day. So you need to act in time, have the risk assessment, make a risk mitigation plan together with your technical experts. This is probably takes a few months or a year to do. Involve some experts, probably also involve IBM, and move forward to having your system as resilient as possible.
Great question from Donna, kind of leading on from that.
Mhm.
Who is the profile that seems to be the ideal candidate?
Yeah, this is we've also discussed with you.
That's right.
It's it is it's a tough thing. It's not, as I say, one of the main things is not to bring in only one person. Having one person alone, that's seems to fail because they are left out from the group. Normally, a group that is 60 years or above in average. So you have to bring in a team. And as discussed with Herbert, mathematicians are great, physicists are great, can be computer scientists, Linux admins, people that like to work with a command line. There are many, I know many people personally that love the command line, don't touch the UI, and they just love to play with technology, and they're stable. They are not necessarily looking at becoming managers, because one thing to be careful with young university people, they have an ambition of becoming a manager. So if you hire them as a sysprog, as a developer, something in his mind, that this is something that happens with about 60% or 65% of people, and it's an overall issue for employee retention. People have an ambition of, I got this now, but I can get something better. So emphasizing the importance and the meaning of working with mainframe, and the ambitions and the things people like. Do you like technical challenges? Do you like making sure you can make the world run? Maybe making the system more efficient, saving resources on the system, which also, I don't know if today, but in the past, the more efficient the system ran, you saved also on your license fees. So there's many things, and having a team, being part of a team, and having friends who can help each other, and emphasizing, which is very important. I read emphasizing that it's not, you don't get a job here, you're actually getting the possibility of a long-term or life career path. You can work all your life, and you can become a sysprog and make sure the system runs excellently to serve millions of people. So finding the people who are good at this. Somebody else mentioned that people that have finished their military service, they have learned discipline, and they like discipline, and working in mainframe also requires discipline. And some people that do military service also have an IT path, so they might be even an even better fit.
Oh, excellent. Yeah, I remember us having a conversation about the connective tissue, about kind of creating communities, and yeah. I can see a lot of that. We have some thoughts about who is responsible for selling mainframe. Is it IBM? Is it universities? Is it the third-party people? How do we get our message across? How does this? What are the mechanisms here?
So who's selling the mainframe, or who's selling the training?
Well, I think when they say selling the mainframe, I think they mean who's promoting it as a platform.
Well, overall, I would think IBM and other companies that have their own mainframes as well, are promoting it, and business partners likely also promoting it. And then there's many communities and people that are fans of this great platform, are also doing their work and promoting it. I can also see in the Linux Foundation, there's the Open Mainframe project, so also supporting open source, and so it's being promoted from many points, I can see.
I honestly have found that there are a lot of organizations where the mainframe is still hidden. So they have a mainframe team, and they're kind of core, but half the people in the company don't know that they're there.
Oh.
And because they don't recruit and they never wave a flag, you wouldn't know that they were companies who rely on mainframes. And maybe there's a piece that they need to do to kind of talk up the successes. Maybe that's something that we should encourage.
I don't know, mainframe, maybe not, but I know just a funny little story. System-I know a company, the backbone of their system, quite big system, nice big company, is on System-I. And the last person, also aging workforce, the last person quit. The System-I is running alone. And the rest of people doing all the modern things on top of the System-I are there, but nobody's doing anything with System-I. So imagine something happens. I don't know. That's possible to have it still works.
So they have like a babysitter. It's
Yeah.
and every now and again the nanny comes over and changes nappies and Oh, wow. There's a comment down the bottom. I'm skipping a couple. It talks about the apprenticeship model and the notion of new collar. So I think you mentioned something about that yourself.
Yeah.
So placing people who've had a career somewhere else on the platform rather than just kind of focusing on very, very new people.
Yeah. So that is one alternative. People that have some knowledge of the platform, but also people based on what I've discussed with many customers, they also look inward. People who understand the business. So be that a bank, be that an insurance company, or whatever it is. You have great workers that have been at your company maybe 10, 15 years within other areas, but are very stable, are very reliable, like their job, they like the stability of their job. So identifying these people together with the rest of the management within the company is also a very good and probably easier way, because it's a person that is already in the company, likes the company, has friends at the company, and most importantly, understands the business. It's much easier to have them sometimes learn a new skill and a new career path, such as mainframe, than bringing in somebody completely new, can learn mainframe but has no clue about your business. We know they also need to learn about your business in order to become efficient at helping you.
Yeah, I think that's very important, because so often there are people inside the business, maybe something's happening in their department, it's changing, or they're looking for more in terms of what they're doing. And it would be so straightforward to move somebody across. It's easy to overestimate how much work it is to train them up and bring into a mainframe team. But if they have the knowledge of the business, you're maybe 70% of the way there.
And also, they are in the company.
Yeah.
They are integrated in the company. They have a group of people which are friends within the company. So that's a network. Yeah. So that's a major, people don't like to be left alone. So you have a network in place.
Yeah.
Major step forward. And but as I said, from talks I've had with many customers, if you hire an individual, especially young, to do one particular task, it's very difficult. That person will be facing a big barrier to be able to connect to a team of nearly retired people, which are already great friends. They have their network, they have their fun, and they're very busy on top of that. So they do not have time to start necessarily teaching and socializing. So it needs to be, part of a plan. The group, the expert group, needs to be involved. They will come, they will join the training, they will engage on a regular basis with a new team, and there needs to be a new team, so they feel part of something, have somebody they can rely on, and help each other. So it makes it much easier. It increases the chances of success considerably. And think that retention at 100% is impossible. So you might need to hire just a few more people to play it safe.
Yeah, be realistic about that.
Yeah, exactly. And that's not failure. It's just statistics.
Yeah.
So it's important to drop this word failure. I hired 5 and now I have 4 failure. That will actually be absolute success. Mm-hmm. You need to think of, these are the numbers. Maybe check the statistics in your country. IT statistics, our statistics for retention, and see, okay, in average, if 30 or 40% fall off, maybe we need to think of hiring 30 or 40% more for the first, and it's not a long term, it's maybe for 6 years, 6 months to a year, where those few fall off, but then you're left with your core at a little extra cost. But now I'm in a great position. Now I have a team that's formed on the way to becoming fully educated as a SysPro operator, whatever that might be. And now in a part of a team, they feel happy.
Yeah, very true. It's funny. There's one I saw in there. I started reading it and I thought, I know this scares me. Herb is doing a great job, but
what is it?
Herb is doing a great job, but more unis need to include mainframe in their curriculum. Was what he says. So.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about that as well. It's very difficult to. It's very difficult to include proprietary stuff into your university curriculum. I remember when I started computer science, there was something I wanted to. I can't remember what it was now. But it was a bit specific, and at the university level, you need to be a bit not focusing on something that's proprietary. It needs to be more general. You need to make some research. You need to compare things out there, not just focus on one thing. So it's difficult to have it as part of a curriculum. They can give you ECTS points or whatever they're called in the different countries. But that's why this discussion we had with Herbert, creating communities of people that are interested, giving them resources, free resources, projects, and things like that, so they can start satisfying their need to learn. And not everybody will stay, but those who stay and like the platform and everybody's, not everybody, many play with technology while they're studying and try things to see what they like the most. And a few will stay, and then you start building communities in different places. But it's difficult, almost impossible to have it as part of the curriculum. I mean, I cannot see how.
Yeah, there are a lot of good practical reasons why they don't. A minor plug, I'm going to be doing a session later on about collaborating with universities, and that might come up. So
all right, interesting.
That's right. So we have a comment here. So we think the issue is with top level management, and they think of us as being old fashioned, and that was something that you pick up on. So there's some interest in that free online training, and that came from Michael. Michael, maybe you want to post a link and show people where they can find out some more about what you're doing. This is what GSE is all about. Don't worry, Marcus. I'm just messing with you. It's okay. Don't worry. Thought I read it. Okay, so we are close to time. Is there anything else that you'd like the world to hear? Because one of the nice things about GSE is we get like a good group of people from different localities with different stories. What would you like everyone to kind of think about and pick up on?
I think it's like they said before, all the people that work with the mainframe, the technical people, they understand the problem very well. The manager doesn't understand the problem very well, and I think there needs to be a better communication between these two groups, and maybe it's something, the technical group should make a 1-pager, if possible, 2, not a 50-pager, because nobody will read it, about what they have, what they need, how they see the future, what's required to ensure the success of the platform in the long term, and the business in principle. I mean, it's not just a platform, it's a business. And if you have a good business case, which you can present and get the management's attention, then you can start this conversation, talk about the risk assessment and the risk mitigation, which is so important in mission critical applications. And I think from there you can take it and start having a plan for opening up for hiring and training and taking it to the next level. I think that's the main thing, because as I say, I always hear the same thing from technical people. We need more people. We need to hire. We need to train. It's 100%. But then you get to management. Oh no, and the numbers, and we need to show profit. Maybe next year, because we're closing the year now. This year needs to look great, but next year it needs to look great again. It always needs to look great. We cannot take on this cost. Mm-hmm. And then, yeah, and if you don't take on the cost, you're going to end up losing your business, and that's it.
Yeah, and that's why I think it's really important that we have talks like this one, so we can hear about the good work that people are doing, and when they hear about the success of others, they kind of go, "Oh yeah, maybe we could do that too." Yeah. I saw something in there from Donna who was saying maybe we need mainframe influencers. Donna, next time we have a stream, I challenge you to give us a presentation called "The Case for Mainframe Influencers." Talk about quite what that would look like, because I think that would be a popular talk.
Yeah.
Grand.
There must be some people who can easily do. I mean, I can imagine, yeah, they can be influencers.
Yeah. You know, it's got to be a thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, I mean,
yeah.
Thank you so much. I think we probably just about have time for a round of applause, because I think that's been a really insightful talk. Thank you very much. If people like to unmute and maybe give our Max a round of applause, because I mean,
thank you so much.
Very insightful talk.
Yeah.
Please do go along to the feedback link for this talk, because we'd like to know what you thought there, and hopefully we will see you at some of our other sessions coming up.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It was very nice to talk, and as I said, if you would like to reach out and discuss anything, you're welcome to do so. Quick question: Are the chat comments saved anywhere?
I'm not sure they are, but I'm sure there is a way of doing it, and I will endeavor to get these saved so we could have a little pick later on.
Yeah. All right.
Lovely.
Thank you so much.
Right then. Okay. Thanks very much, everyone. And we'll see you at one of our future sessions, hopefully. Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you, and bye-bye.